Hello students, my name is Laura Antunes and I am your virtual content specialist. And today on Unit 8, Day 12, exploring pollution and introducing possible solutions for human impact on the environment, we are focusing on this question. How can we learn about the role between pollution and resource use and begin to explore solutions to some of the problems that have been caused by human impact on the environment? We are going to explore this question through the resolution of some multiple choice living environment questions that are related to the human impact in the environment and that present the information as charts and graphs and maps. So we are going to learn how to read all those charts and graphs and diagrams to make sense of the living environment regions. Stay with me because we're going to start. Okay, our first question reads, the diagram below represents how air pollution may move across the eastern United States. Before I read the question, I am going to look at the map and I can see how the title of the map is Movement of Air Pollution, and there is also a key next to it that says winds. The arrows represent winds, and I can also see how the wind is basically blowing towards the eastern of the United States, from the west to the east of the United States. Now I am ready to read the question. In order to reduce the amount of air pollution in Pennsylvania, which change is necessary? So I told you that one of the tips to answer this type of questions is to highlight and circle important keywords. So we want to reduce the amount of air pollution. So in my mind, I'm already thinking that reducing means minimizing, means diminishing, means the pollution going down. Okay, and it's asking me about the change, which change is necessary. Paraphrasing the question is going to help me to clarify the question in my mind. So what I have to say, I have to find a change that we have to make in order to make the pollution, the air pollution, go down. All right, so read the answers, pause the video, and come back to it. And 4 is correct. As you can see, air pollution is coming from Illinois and Indiana and Ohio and Kentucky, and it's going to Pennsylvania. So you really need to cooperate with the different states so air pollution in Pennsylvania can finally be reduced. All right, so notice how the graph, in this case the diagram, the map, give us a lot of information so you can process the information and answer to the question correctly. Let's go to the next one. Okay, for this question, we have a lot of diagrams and graphs, as you can see. So let's read, and then we are going to analyze the information. Base your answers to questions on the next 2 slides on the information below and on your knowledge of biology. Over the past few decades, researchers have observed declining numbers in 2 species of penguins native to the West Antarctic Peninsula. New evidence is pointing to a decline in their food supply as the primary cause for the recent drops in their numbers. These penguins feed on krill, small animals that grow and develop under ice masses. The graphs below show data related to 2 factors: atmospheric carbon dioxide, CO2 levels, and Antarctic ice mass. The diagram of a generalized Antarctic Food Web illustrates the role of the penguins. All right, so before we read the questions, we are going to make sure that we understand these 2 graphs. So the first graph on the left shows the direct CO2 measurements between 2005 and 2011. As we can see in the x-axis, we have different years, 2005, and goes up to 2011. And as we can see in the vertical axis, we have CO2 content expressed in parts per million. And as you can see, the graph is going up. All right, so you see the CO2 is also going up, starting in 2005 in around 378 parts per million and going up to more than 390 in 2011. All right, so what's the conclusion that I can make based on the first graph? I can say that CO2 is increasing. All right, let's go to the next one. So the next one says, again, from year 2002 this time to year 2010, we do have in the y-axis, we have a change in ice mass and is measured in gigatons. All right, so what I can see from the graph is that sometimes the ice mass goes up and down, up and down, up and down. And that means this is a cyclic process because we have in winter, we have more ice, and in summer, we have less ice because it melts. But in general terms, the graph has been going down. And is as you can see, it was a negative 200 more or less at the beginning of the 2002 year, and then in 2009 that number is below 1,400 negative. So basically this is what you have. You have evidence in here that the CO2 has been going up, and on the other hand you also have evidence of the Antarctica mass going down. All right, so finally let's look at the Antarctic Food Web. You can see how the main food for penguins is krill, and you can also see how krill feeds on phytoplankton and zooplankton. And so now that we understand the food web, we are ready to look at the question. Question A says, state one possible relationship between CO2 levels and the change in Antarctic ice mass. Remember that the word state means to establish a relationship, okay? So basically, whenever in the living environment they ask you to state a relationship, you basically have to state what happens to one variable when the other one increases, all right, or decreases. So let me start the sentence for you. You could say something like, as CO2 increases, Antarctic ice mass. You complete the sentence and then come back to the video. Correct. Antarctic ice mass decreases. So that means this kind of relationship is a negative relationship, and that you can also use it as your answer. Let's go with B. Explain why the change in ice mass is resulting in a decline in the penguin populations. All right. So probably you wrote something similar to this. Less ice, that means fewer krill for the penguins to eat, since krill develops under the ice. Perfect. So let's go with our last question for today. State one specific way in which humans may have caused the changes in atmospheric CO2 levels. Again, think about the question, pause the video, munch your answer, write down, and then come back to the video for the final answer. All right, so maybe you wrote something like humans burning fossil fuel is increasing CO2 levels. This will be all for today. Remember that if you want to keep practice on your own, you can also go to nysedregents.org/living environment, and you can find tons of practice exams in there. Good luck in your exam, and see you in the next video.